The moment arrives in a specific way. Recognition, a promotion, a public acknowledgement, a compliment from someone whose judgment you respect. The kind of moment that, from the outside, looks straightforwardly good. The kind you worked toward, and that by any objective measurement, you earned. And what arrives is not satisfaction. What arrives is something closer to anxiety, a quiet, specific discomfort that the recognition has produced. Not because it isn't deserved in the technical sense, but because it feels like an overstatement, like a characterization of you that is slightly larger than the real picture. Like you are now holding a credential that you are not entirely certain will survive the scrutiny that credentials eventually receive. The thought forms quickly, not quite consciously. They don't know the full story. They don't know about the mistakes you didn't mention, the moments of genuine uncertainty, the things you figured out on the way rather than knowing from the start. The gaps in your knowledge that you navigate carefully enough that they don't usually show. The proportion of luck and timing and favorable circumstance that contributed to the outcome that is now being attributed primarily to you. They don't know. And at some level, perhaps without ever quite saying it to yourself directly, you are waiting. Not for anything specific, for the general review, the broader examination, the moment when the gap between how you were perceived and what you privately know about yourself will become visible to someone else. This episode is about that experience. Not to dismiss it, not to replace it with a reassurance that you are definitely as good as people say you are, but to examine what it is, where it comes from, and why the obvious solution, getting more evidence that you are good enough, doesn't solve it. And what, in its place, actually does. In 1978, two psychologists, Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes, published a paper describing an internal experience they had observed consistently in a specific population they were working with, high-achieving women in academic and professional settings. They called it the Impostor Phenomenon. Their subjects were, by any external measure, successful. They held advanced degrees, had built significant careers, were recognized by colleagues and institutions as competent and accomplished. And a significant proportion of them experienced privately and persistently the conviction that they were not as capable as their circumstances suggested, that their success had been produced by factors other than genuine ability, that they were, in some fundamental sense, faking it, and that the discovery of this was an ongoing risk rather than a settled impossibility. In the decades since that original paper, the research has expanded dramatically. What began as an observation about a specific population has been documented across genders, professions, career stages, and cultural contexts. Imposter feelings are not rare. They are not the result of a particular personality type or particular deficits in self-confidence. And the finding that is most surprising to the people who experience them, they are most common not among those who are objectively least capable, but among those who are most capable and most self-aware. The Dunning-Kruger effect, well known in popular psychology, describes the tendency of people with low competence to overestimate their ability. They lack the knowledge to know what they don't know. The imposter phenomenon is, in a very real sense, the inverse. The people who know the most, who are most aware of the full complexity of their field, of the genuine limits of their current knowledge, of the things they do not yet know, are exactly the people most likely to feel that their competence is insufficient. The more you know, the more aware you are of what you don't know. And in a mind that measures itself against what it doesn't yet know, rather than against what it has already achieved, the conviction of inadequacy can be persistent and powerful. Even in men who are, by any honest external assessment, genuinely good at what they do. Let me describe the specific internal mechanism, because naming it precisely is itself part of addressing it. A success occurs, an achievement, a recognition, a piece of evidence that the external world has registered competence. In a mind operating normally, this evidence is integrated into the self-concept. It is received as information about ability and added to the existing body of such information. The self-concept updates. In the mind running the imposter pattern, something different happens. The evidence is received and immediately subjected to an alternative explanation. The success is attributed to luck, to timing, to the specific, unusual favorability of circumstances, to the absence of more capable competitors, to the particular relationship with a particular person who happens to be well-disposed toward the self, to anything, in short, except genuine, general, stable ability. This is what Clance called attribution error, the systematic misattribution of positive outcomes to external, unstable, specific factors, rather than to internal, stable, general ability. It is the mirror image of how self-serving bias works in most people. Most people have a slight tendency to attribute successes to internal factors and failures to external ones. The person operating with imposter feelings does the reverse. Failures are attributed to internal factors. This is what I'm actually like. Successes are attributed to external ones. This time I got lucky. The result is a self-concept that accumulates evidence of failure and discounts evidence of success. Each positive outcome passes through a filter that reduces its evidentiary value. Each negative outcome registers at full weight. And the external validation that seems like it should help, the recognition, the promotion, the public acknowledgement, passes through the same filter. It is received as the opinion of people who don't have the full picture. People who, if they knew what the man privately knows about himself, might assess him differently. So the validation lands, and the anxiety persists. This is the part that most men in this situation have not been told. The natural response to imposter feelings is to seek more evidence of competence, more confirmation, more external indicators that the verdict from outside matches the verdict the internal critic is issuing from within. This response is logical. If the problem is the gap between external assessment and internal conviction, more external evidence should close the gap. It doesn't. And not accidentally, structurally. Because the problem is not a deficit of external evidence. External evidence is not in short supply for most men experiencing imposter feelings. They have it. The credentials, the recognition, the successful outcomes. The problem is that the external evidence is being processed through a filter that systematically reduces its value. Adding more evidence to a filter that reduces the value of evidence does not solve the problem. It prolongs the cycle. More validation produces temporary relief, The most recent piece of evidence carries enough weight to quiet the internal critic briefly, but the filter is still there, and the next piece of evidence will pass through it in the same way. And the anxiety of the interim, the gap between the last piece of validation and the next, remains. The man who organizes his sense of self around external validation has built his psychological security on something that is, by its nature, intermittent, inconsistent, and outside his control. He is at the mercy of how others assess him, which means he is at the mercy of others' knowledge of his work, their current mood, their own frameworks for evaluation, their priorities, and the 1,000 factors that influence human assessment that have nothing to do with the actual quality of what he has done. This is not a stable foundation, and it cannot be made stable by adding more of the same thing. Epictetus's most radical teaching, the one that most of his students initially resisted and most eventually found transformative, was about the sharp boundary between what is genuinely ours and what is not. What is genuinely ours? Our judgments, our values, our choices, the effort we bring, the character we express. What is not ours? The reactions of other people, the outcomes of situations we don't fully control, the assessments others make of our worth, and, crucially, the opinions others hold of us. He wrote in the Enchiridion, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things." This is not an instruction to court disapproval. It is an instruction about what to build one's sense of self on. The man who measures himself primarily by others' opinions has placed the foundation of his identity outside himself, in territory he does not control. Territory that changes with others' moods, their current priorities, their knowledge of him, and their own frameworks for evaluation. Territory that can produce validation today and withdraw it tomorrow for reasons entirely unrelated to anything he has done. This is not a stable foundation, and Epictetus was unambiguous about this. A man who builds his identity on something outside himself is not free, regardless of his external circumstances. He is perpetually at the mercy of what others think of him. The Stoic alternative is not indifference to others' opinions. It is not the performance of confidence or the theatrical rejection of feedback. It is the construction of a foundation that is actually within the man's ownership. His values, what he genuinely cares about and is oriented toward. His effort, how he actually shows up for the work, regardless of outcome. His judgment, his own honest assessment of what he has done and what it means. His ongoing development, the process of becoming more capable over time, which he can observe directly. These are internal. They are stable across others' shifting assessments. They are genuinely his. And a man who builds his sense of self on these things is no longer dependent on the outside for confirmation. Not because he doesn't care about others' opinions. He may care quite a lot. But because others' opinions are no longer the foundation. They are one data source among many, filtered through his own judgment, rather than received as the primary verdict. Let me return to the filter. The man in the imposter pattern receives a positive assessment and runs it through the discounting mechanism. This is luck, timing, circumstance, the low bar set by the specific context. What he does not do What the pattern actively prevents is applying his own judgment to the assessment before discounting it. Here's what applying his own judgment would involve. Ask, was this success genuinely the result of factors outside my control? Or is that what the anxiety is telling me? Let's be specific. The promotion was offered. The specific reason, in most cases, can be examined. What was the work that produced it? What did I do specifically that led to this outcome? What capacities did I bring that someone without them would not have brought? This is not self-aggrandizement. This is the same honest examination that would be applied to a failure. If the man is willing to accept the internal verdict on his failures as accurate, he should be willing to apply the same scrutiny to the internal verdict on his successes. The capacity to do this, to apply honest judgment to one's own performance, rather than defaulting to either the internal critic or the external validation, is what Epictetus is pointing toward. It is the development of one's own judgment as a reliable instrument, an instrument that does not require external confirmation to function, an instrument that can assess what was actually done and what it indicates about actual capacity. This capacity is not built quickly. It requires practice. It requires the repeated experience of catching the discounting mechanism in the moment it runs, noticing the thought, "that was lucky," arriving, and pausing to actually examine whether it's accurate before accepting it. Sometimes it will be. Some successes do involve significant luck. The honest examination will find this. But in most cases, for men experiencing imposter feelings, the examination will find something else. Evidence of genuine work, genuine skill, genuine growth. Evidence that the discounting mechanism has been obscuring. And that examination, conducted with genuine honesty, rather than either false modesty or false confidence, is the beginning of what the external validation was never going to produce. A stable internal foundation. The question that drives the imposter cycle is, do they think I'm good enough? This question has no stable answer. Others' assessments fluctuate. The evidence for a positive assessment competes with the anxiety-driven discounting mechanism that reduces its value. The cycle continues. The question that breaks the cycle is different. Not, do they think I'm good enough? But, do I know what I value? How I want to work? And who I am trying to become? This question has an answer. It is within reach. It belongs entirely to the man asking it. What do I actually care about in my work? What does doing it well look like by my own honest assessment? What am I trying to develop? What would genuine growth in this area look like for me? These questions locate the self-assessment where it actually functions, in the ongoing relationship a man has with his own values and his own development, not in the external verdict, which fluctuates and cannot be controlled, in the internal one, which is available to be examined, refined, and trusted. The man who can answer these questions honestly, who has a genuine relationship with his own judgment about his own work and his own growth, is not immune to imposter feelings. They may still arrive, but they arrive into a different context, not into the vacuum of a self-concept built entirely on external evidence, into a self-concept that has an internal structure, values, effort, judgment, a sense of what is actually being built. And into that context, the imposter feeling carries a different weight. Not the weight of a verdict, the weight of an anxiety, something to be examined, not obeyed. The shift the episode is pointing toward is a reorientation from external to internal assessment, not as a rejection of feedback, but as a change in what serves as the primary foundation. Here is how to begin. After your next success, however small, before accepting the discounting narrative that will arrive automatically, pause and do something that the pattern resists. Give an honest account to yourself of what you actually did.
Not modestly, not with excessive confidence. Honestly, what specific work led to this outcome? What decisions did you make? What problems did you solve? What did you bring to this that someone without your specific development would not have brought? Write it down if that helps. The act of articulating it specifically, not generically, makes it harder for the discounting mechanism to dismiss. Then ask, by my own honest standards, not others' assessment, my own, was this good work? The answer may be yes. It may be good enough, with specific things I would do differently. It may reveal genuine gaps worth addressing. Any of these is more useful than the automatic, it was probably just luck.
Because any of these is honest. An honest self-assessment, the kind that can acknowledge both what was genuinely good and what can genuinely be improved, is the capacity that Epictetus was pointing toward. Not certainty, not the absence of self-doubt, but the ongoing, practiced application of one's own judgment to one's own work, a judgment that is neither the internal critic's verdict nor the external validators, but one's own. That judgment, built and trusted over time, is the only foundation that cannot be taken away by a shift in others' opinions. It is the only foundation that is actually yours. Come back to the moment the episode opened with. The recognition that landed as anxiety. The thought, they don't know the full picture. Here is what that thought was not telling you. It was not telling you that you are a fraud. It was not delivering an accurate assessment of your competence. It was telling you something true about where you have been grounding your sense of worth. In others' assessments. In a foundation that fluctuates with others' knowledge, their moods, their priorities, and their evaluative frameworks. A foundation that cannot be stable because it is not yours to control. Clance and Imes documented this in high-achieving, self-aware people, not because those people are less capable, but because their capability includes the self-awareness to see their own limitations clearly. That self-awareness, turned against the self, without the counterbalance of honest judgment, produces exactly what they found: the persistent conviction that the gap between perception and reality will eventually be exposed. Epictetus had a word for the solution, and it was not be more confident. It was build your identity on what is genuinely yours. Your values, your effort, your judgment, your ongoing development. These things are stable. These things are within your ownership. And a man who has built his foundation on these things is not waiting to be found out. He is not waiting for anything. He is doing the work by his own honest assessment and trusting the judgment he has developed to tell him what it means. That is not the absence of self-doubt. It is the presence of something more solid than self-doubt's opposite. Here's the one thing worth carrying. External external validation cannot fill an internal gap. The cure is not more proof of worth. It is building a relationship with your own judgment that doesn't need external confirmation to stand. Stop asking, do they think I'm good enough? Start asking, do I know what I value, how I want to work, and who I am becoming? That question has an answer, and it's yours. I'll see you in the next one.